how much fertilizer do we put on? This is really the key that we need to spend some time with, is how much. Now, when you buy a sack of fertilizer, it could be ammonium sulfate, which is just like I said before, 21% nitrogen. And it also has sulfur and other things. But you usually buy what's called a complete fertilizer. And what a complete fertilizer means is that it is a combination of these three major plant foods. And they call it a complete fertilizer no matter what combination, what percentage of each. That doesn't pay much attention. It's still called complete. But the one that's used mostly around here, which is excellent, is 16, 16, 16. Now, these numbers, these numbers are always in the same order. The one that's used around here is 16, 16, 8, because we have so much potash in the soil. And they're always in the same order, so you always know this is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. They're always in that same order. And because we do not need a lot of potash around here, therefore this is a better mix than what they use in California, which is 16, 16, 16, which is great for their soils but not good for ours. So this is what is usually used. And then because we have so much problem with the minor elements, the trace elements, deficiencies there, I add ironite. And ironite is a mixture of, it has iron and zinc and manganese and cobalt and molybdenum and copper, and all the different trace elements are in ironite. So you get a lot of trace elements that can sometimes be deficient, but mostly it's iron, zinc, and manganese. And so I use both of this every time I plant anything in the garden. I use the 16, 16, 8 and the ironite. Now, how much? And this is really key. For an area, let's say you have an area here which is 3 feet by 30 feet. If you multiply the length times the width, you always get the square footage. So that's 180. I'm talking about 6 feet, excuse me, times 30 feet. And that's 180 square feet. Okay, for an area that big, you put on a quart of a mixture of 16, 16, 8 and ironite. And what you put on is 4/5 16, 16, 8 and 1/5 ironite. Okay, for that mixture in here, and I just put it in the bottle. I just fill it up and say, okay, that's 4/5 and that's 1/5, and then I just cover it and turn it and cover it and shake it, and after just a couple of minutes, it's totally, completely mixed. And they're different colors, so you can see when they start out being streaked, and then just in a couple of minutes, you've got it all mixed up, so it's completely homogeneous. And then I just sprinkle it on right out of the quart bottle. It's easy, and it's good to make it easy. And so for something that size, you would, now what if you have one that's, let's say, 12 feet by 10 feet, okay? Now, that would be 120 square feet. And so if you divide that by 180, that's about 2/3. It's exactly 2/3 of a quart, right? And so you would be using 2/3 of a quart of this same mix. What would happen if you had it 15, a piece that's 15 feet by 15 feet? Now you multiply the length times the width and you get 225 square feet, right? And then you get your calculator out and you divide by 180, and that's 1 1/4 quarts. So it's easy, no matter what the size of your garden is. It's very simple to just, once you know that a quart for 180 square feet is ideal. Now what if you have a very, very sandy soil, pure sand, beach sand? You'd add a little bit more. What if you had a soil that you've had just put tons of organic matter in and you've been gardening it for years? You put in a little less. So it depends on your soil exactly how much, but this is a basic rule of thumb as to how much you put on for basic crops. Now remember, you're putting this on before you rototill, before you work it up, and you're working it into the soil. And then you won't have any deficiencies that year at all.